All right, so remember that thing that a lot of us were asking the Pokemon Company and Nintendo to do, where we said, "Hey guys, give us back the OG Pokemon games that we loved on like Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, etc." Like, we don't care, would pay money for it, blah blah blah. And then Pokemon Company and Nintendo were like, "All right, here's Fire Red, Leaf Green for $20, haha." And everyone's like, what about the Game Boy Advance emulator? Can we play it on there?" And they're like, "No, haha." And then everyone was like, "Screw you guys, I'm still gonna buy the game," right? So we all bought it anyways, and we all played it, and we all were like, "Man, screw Pokemon Company," but also this is Fire Red and Leaf Green. So yeah, you guys, played this game. This is gonna be my review, obviously on a game that everyone knows about. So not necessarily is the review, is this game good? I guess the question we're asking in this video is it worth $20, right? And just to make long story short, right? Stick around to hear my full thoughts, but like quick summed up thoughts. $20 for one of the greatest games ever invented. There's worse things you can do with $20. Is all I'm saying. There's worse things you can spend $20 on. Now, if you're a crazy lunatic like some of us and bought Fire Red and Leaf Green, I'm gonna be honest. There's worse things you can spend $40 on. Anyways, you guys, do me a favor, like, subscribe to the video. That's the end of the video. Or actually, all right. So stick around for full thoughts, right? So going into full thoughts. Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green. I grew up on the OG Kanto games. I was, one of those biggest fans of like the anime. I played Pokemon Red. I played Pokemon Yellow. I went on to Gold and Silver. I played Fire Red and no, I didn't play Leaf Green. I played Fire Red. Then I played, um, Ruby, Sapphire. I played Emerald, all the way up to the Sinnoh League. Right. I played from Gen 1 to Gen 4, absolutely loved Pokemon. Followed the animes, collected the cards. Pokemon nerd, right? I was Charmeleon for Halloween once. That's how deep my Pokemon like roots went. Then Gen 5, hated the starters. I was getting too old for this at this point. I think I was just kind of done with Pokemon for a while. Nintendo Switch comes out, and then I give Sword and Shield a shot, and I think it was okay. I didn't think it was that bad, but definitely it was missing something, and I couldn't put my finger on it. It felt like OG Pokemon, but like something was missing. And then Scarlet and Violet was a whole debacle that I will not get into because everyone's already, documented how terrible, that game performed. Um, Overall, quick review on that game: it sucks. I don't like it. It's boring. Then I had to give Leaf Green a shot. I don't because I was curious in my own self. Is it Pokemon that I hate now? Is it the new games that I hate now? Is it the Pokemon designs? Like, what is it? What about Pokemon that I just can't latch onto anymore that used to be like such a huge part of my personality? And playing Leaf Green, and 50 hours into this game, right? I'm 50 hours into this game. I'm currently beating the Elite Four for a second time because I'm that good. I am the Pokemon Master. Um, but yeah, just overall, like, this game is highly addictive, like insanely addictive. The fact that I'm like so hooked onto Leaf Green, X amount of years after my first playthrough of this game. And mind you, I didn't play this game once or twice. I destroyed this game. And the fact that I can do this again so many years later, and I feel like a little kid again, to be honest. And like for better or for worse, this game absorbed a lot of my time. It was to the point where I didn't expect myself to go play this game this much. I thought I was going to dive in, get a little nostalgia hit, cool, had fun, and I have other games to play. But this just monopolized all my time. I didn't want to play anything else. I just wanted to play this. I got my brother to buy Fire Red, and we were developing our teams, and we had this thing where we're going to meet up and we're going to battle each other and we're going to trade Pokemon. Like, that's how deep we got into Pokemon right now. Like, so much so that I think my love kind of infatuated other people near me, and they started getting into Fire Red and Leaf Green. I got like most of my brothers into it, a lot of my friends into it. So now like we're all this little Pokemon community now, right? And it's not just the starters, it's not just the Pokemon, it's not just that what Kanto is. Like, for me, there's always been a special place in Kanto. I love everything from the original 151. I don't think there's a single Pokemon in the OG 151 that's a miss. I think the starters are one of the greatest starters, one of the most iconic starters ever created. But something that I think makes this game slightly better is the way that it's designed. I think it's designed with conflict. And mind you, I played this game when I was like 5 and I beat it, and I played this game multiple times after and I beat it. So this game isn't the hardest thing in the world. With that being said, you can't just breeze through it. This game forces you to, you have to get a certain like for example, if you choose Charmander, you're gonna have a struggle through the first 2 gyms. You're gonna have to, you're not gonna be able to one shot, Brock and Misty. You're gonna have to go pick up a Mankey or pick up another Pokemon to help you out. You need to pick up that Pikachu to help you out with Misty later on down the road. If you pick Bulbasaur on the other hand, you don't necessarily need these guys. You can, you can one shot Brock and Misty and be a little bit more selective with who you want on your team. There's definitely like that vibe of like you have to be a little bit more careful with how you choose your Pokemon, where your path is, how you choose your path. For example, I did the Silph Co, battled Sabrina, and then afterwards went to Blaine. My brother went to Blaine, then afterwards did the Silph Co, and then went to Sabrina. So like, I think just the way that playthrough varies is fun, and what is a linear quote unquote. It's a very linear game, but it is for lack of a better word, it is kind of an open world RPG on the Game Boy. Like obviously there's paths you can cross. You can't just like go wherever you want. But for what it's worth, they did a lot on these little handheld devices, and it's very mad impressive and it is super fun. And I think the way that you kind of brush up against conflict in this game is fun. Like when I go through the rock cavern in this game, the rock cave in this game, like I barely sweated that out. That was kind of tough. I know someone else I knew playing the game, they couldn't go through it in one try. They had to back out, heal the Pokemon, get more items, and then come back in. So that it was a little bit of a grind in through there. This game forced me to really select my Pokemon a little bit more carefully. For context, I also went and played Pokemon Sun because I know a lot of people play that game, really like that game. So I went and tried Pokemon Sun. I never played it for the first time, but immediately playing Pokemon Sun, I realized why I don't like certain modern Pokemon games. And I don't know if you count Pokemon Sun as one of the more modern ones, but it is, it's up there in gens. But in Pokemon Sun, before I even do like the first, island challenge or whatever, I have a whole stack of Pokemon. I have a bunch of Pokemon. Um, are they great Pokemon? No, but I have a wide variety. Not to mention the fact that I'm one-shotting pretty much everyone with Rowlet. Like, I don't know if Rowlet's OP in that game, but I'm like knocking mother effer out. And playing, Leaf Green, I choose Bulbasaur, which in my opinion is the best starter. And yeah, don't get me wrong, like I can tank a lot of hits, I can do a lot of damage, but I definitely still need another team, a wider variety of Pokemon to help me out. I picked up that Mankey to help me out because I really like Mankey. Pikachu helped me out through a lot of it because, again, I think having that wide variety of Pokemon helped me out a lot, and I think switching in and out helped me out a lot. And again, I just never felt like I needed to do that in Pokemon Sun. And as I'm like reflecting on my time, I remember when I played Sword and Shield, similar thing where I don't think I needed to switch out a lot. I don't think I needed to do a whole lot. My Pokemon was pretty good. I chose Scorbunny in that one, and Scorbunny kind of whooped ass for most of the game, to be honest. So I just feel like the newer Pokemon game has coddled the hell out of newer Pokemon fans. And, maybe that's my opinion. Maybe that's just me being an old person. That's just like not. That's just, I guess, I don't know. I think this is like overall gaming is becoming more coddling, and that's what it is. But I feel like Pokemon could be a little bit more challenging. Like, again, mind you, I played and beat these games as a child in elementary school. Elementary school kids can still beat OG Fire Red Leaf Green. Like, it's not the hardest thing. Yes, they're gonna have to use their brain. They're gonna use a little bit of critical thinking, stuff like that. But overall, I don't know. I think this game, for all that it is an amazing game for anyone and everyone. I think it's obviously worth the $20. I love the world and design, the whole Team Rocket, everything that's going on there. I love the gym leaders, the Elite Four. The starters are one of the best starters. Like, I think this game is. I think if Pokemon can go back and just kind of like look at what they did there and understand that Pokemon doesn't have to be the safest thing in the world. It doesn't have to be the easiest thing in the world. I shouldn't just mindlessly, like, I remember playing Scarlet and Violet and just mindlessly collecting Pokemon, because why not? I tried the gyms and I did not like the gyms, and because it's like beyond the tech problem. Because I know a lot of people tell me, oh well, if you play on the Switch too, like Scarlet and Violet play better, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but the game itself is where I do not want to play. Again, playing Pokemon Sun and like feeling like I'm just missing something. Like there's level of like ease that that game shouldn't have, that makes it less of an RPG, I guess. I feel like Fire Red, Leaf Green, and the older gens were an RPG first. Through and through, they made an RPG. They made a really good RPG. And like, I don't know, maybe the newer games, I know they're part of a machine and they gotta try to cast a wider net and catch as many people as possible. And I understand that, but I don't know. Pokemon Mania was real, and they did it with Fire Red. They did it with Red and Blue, and those games were pretty challenging. And I think I just missed that level of game design from Pokemon. And overall, like playing this game brought me back to that. Brought me back to a place that I grew up in and that I love. And it made me realize that I don't hate Pokemon. Actually, matter of fact, I still love Pokemon. I just want something more from my Pokemon game, I guess. And maybe that's a obvious thing. Maybe a lot of Pokemon fans have already known this, and I guess I just don't have all the answers to this because I haven't been in the Pokemon fan base in so long that I don't really know where they stand on games. I know a lot of people really love Sun and Moon, which is why I was hoping to really like it, and I'm still pretty early on in that game, so maybe I fall in love with it later, but who knows. Anyways, guys, those are my just overall, I guess, nostalgia thoughts of Fire Red, Leaf Green. I think it's obviously worth the money. I think it's crazy for people to say, "Oh, well, you can just emulate it." Okay, cool. You can just emulate damn near every game. Then, like, what are we talking about? If you're just gonna use that as your reference point, then yeah, people emulated Tears of the Kingdom before release. Does that mean Tears of the Kingdom is not worth the $70 that it was? That doesn't make any sense in my opinion. Like, if you want to emulate it, go ahead and emulate it. Like, whatever. That's your prerogative. Personally, I haven't emulated a game since middle school, so like I'm just not. That's not the path that I choose to play. I'd rather just buy a game because for me it's that much easier. But it is what it is. Anyways, you guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Pokemon to Switch. If you've never tried the OG Pokemon games, the OG 151 have a special place in my heart, and I highly recommend playing this game.